This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
We into IT solution provider, incepted in the year of 1999, almost 18 years of experience we have and all that. And we give training program on technical as well as right. So we were into technical and as well as domain training, having more than 18 years of experience. And myself, Rajesh, I'm a business management graduate by qualification in the year of 2000. Even I have 18 years of experience in providing trainings for different organizations, individuals, and all that. My major expertise lies on management as well as behavioral aspects of individuals, as well as the managerial topics like emotional intelligence, conflict management, self-development, and as well as business analysis and all, right? So this is all means a mix of both IT as well as management I'm into. And today we were talking about emotional intelligence, because as in you people know about the importance of emotions, right? How it is impacting us in our personal as well as professional life, and why and how emotions controls us, and how are we need to control that, right? And how intelligence do we have and all, right? So this is what emotional intelligence are we talking about in today's session. So before I'm going to start, I would like to announce you that there are two Google Forms will be shared already to you. And one form is for recording and as well as receiving PPTs. And another form will be for winners, like, right? So that you can comment the post here and all that, so that we'll be asking you the feedback and all. So wherein you need to post your comments so that winners will be announced and all, right? So this is what the two forms were all about, right? One is for the recording PPT and second is for winners. And by the way, can everyone introduce yourself one by one so that we'll start the session officially? Can you start with Arjita? Arjita, may I know your professional experience, what you are and all that? What you are and all. One by one. Arjita, next. Lakshmikant, Manpreet, Poonam, one by one. Anyone, right? Because if I know your professional experience, so that it have more clarity over, right? So if you can share your professional journey as well as experiences would be more helpful so that everybody come to know that. Yes, please. Who's first? Manpreet?
Yeah, hi Rajesh. This is Manpreet Kaur.
Yeah. Hi, Manpreet.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm looking for Java developer positions right now, and I recently in 2018 did my master's in computer science,
Mhm.
and yeah, but I was really interested in this title, emotion intelligence, and today I thought I should attend that. So hopefully, I think so. I'll get something good knowledge about it. So thank you so much for conducting this session.
Yeah. Great speaking to you, Manpreet.
Yeah,
Next.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, anyone? Lakshmikant, Poonam, Yefim, Arjita, like to share your professional experiences and all? Because why I'm asking is once the session is completed, there will be question and answers kind of stuff wherein will be asking by me. So that if you can share your experience so that I come to know from which background you belongs to. Like means from which either qualification or the experience you have and all so that it will be useful to others as well. So this is for that purpose.
Hi.
So can anyone share? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Arjita. Yeah. Hi, Arjita.
I
Please,
and yeah, this is Ajita. I
please.
have I'm an assistant professor and a research scholar, and I'm having a specialization in human resource management. And I think this is an important topic in related to human resources. And I thought I should attend this and get knowledge about this topic.
Oh, great, Arjita. Thank you. Thanks for that. Next, Lakshmikant.
Yes,
May I
I'm
know
here.
your yeah, Lakshmikant. Yeah, please go ahead.
Was trying to connect my earphones, so I was
Yeah, it's
trying to.
okay. Please.
There will be a questionnaire at the end of this session, right? So if you can assure me that you won't ask me difficult questions, then I will introduce myself.
I'm not going to ask anything. You people have to ask.
anyways, anyways, good
See,
evening. Good evening to you.
yeah, very good evening, Lakshmikant. Please.
Uh, yes, and good evening to you and everybody in this session. I don't see many of the headcounts here. However, subject matter seems to be very crucial, and I have zero knowledge and idea right now how this is going to create any value or any scope for my profession. However, I come from IT background, and basically I'm a senior network engineer working on Cisco devices, focusing on
Okay.
routing and switching mostly. And
Hmm.
since 2 years now, I'm working on a domain change wherein I've learned a little bit of Amazon Web Services and trying to get my hands on Azure and Google Cloud, and eventually trying to get onto DevOps automation. And right now, I don't work, searching for a job and into cloud services and stuff.
Okay.
So one of my friends shared this link to me on WhatsApp, and emotional intelligence, communication skills, language speaking, and these kind of things have always fascinated me, and I'm really curious, and always I'm willing to learn as much as possible and try to implement and use it in my daily life as maybe casually with friends or an official setup or office environments or with seminars and stuff. And that is the reason I'm here. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Great speaking to you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Poonam. Yes, please. Okay. Right. I think you people will respond me once the session is done. I hope so. Okay. So yeah, let me just again remind you that our session is all about emotional intelligence, because as in based on the attendees, I came to understood, right? I already understood that how important emotional intelligence in our professional as well as in personal life, right? So day-to-day life, right? How is it important and all that? I think you people know that, because especially this kind of situations, you know about the kind of situations we were in, about the kind of pandemic situations where we don't have any solution as such. As of now, we don't have any solution, and solution maybe in terms of vaccination maybe may come soon, right? Because there was no assurance from anyone. Hence, we have to take care of ourselves. Uh, so, at this kind of situation, wherein we need to balance our two things. Here, one is your household things to be balanced. At the same time, our professional life and professional work has to be balanced. So, the topic what are we discussing today about called emotional intelligence and all everything is, I'm hoping that it will be helpful in present situation. Let me begin with, before we need to talk about emotional intelligence and all that, what exactly emotions are all about? Can anyone say what exactly an emotion is all about? Anyone, please? What does mean by an emotion? So emotion is a kind where it's a kind of biological state where our mind is connecting with, because there are two things, because most of the people have have a confusion over emotion versus feeling. Okay, because there is a lot of confusion among public, wherein just I just shared the screen wherein you can see here whatever the queries you have with respect to the session is concerned, you can ask me after the session, no problem, right? So
Yeah,
emotions
well,
is a
Raj,
kind
at the
of thing.
same time, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Raj. At the same time, while we're at it, this session is recorded, and will this be shared with us on YouTube for future reference, or how is it?
Yes. The session, by the way, thank you for asking me. Once the session is done, this will be uploaded in YouTube, this thing, right? So wherein whenever
Sure,
you want for the reference, you can go through that, no problem. And
sure,
it will
Raj.
be
And how
shared
long
to
this
you
is
as
gonna
well.
last?
This session will be for another 1 hour 30 minutes, sometime like 1 hour 30 minutes, 1.5 hour session will be there. Overall time we have taken is 2 hours from 6:30 p.m. IST to 8:30 p.m. IST. So that how long it exists? 1.5 hour
Great.
time.
My Sunday evening is anyways dedicated to emotional intelligence. Looks like today, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Right. So let me explain you about emotions first, because we are, before you're going for emotional intelligence and all, we need to understand the importance of emotion, which normally connects to the biological states of an individual, which is connecting to the mind. Because either the kind of problem, whatever the kind of problem we were in, right? What kind of situation we were in, what kind of state of mind do we have, and all that. These emotions plays a vital and important role in anyone's life. Either the decisions are we taking in our educational career, or the kind of decisions are we taking in our household things. At the same time, most important thing, the topic what I am driving this is towards at workplace, because that is most important, especially every time, and that to this pandemic times. whatever intelligence are we playing, right? Especially in terms of coordination of work, or maybe in terms of taking decisions and all that. This emotional intelligence or emotions plays a vital and important role, especially at workplace nowadays. Because if you people might personally understands, or you people might personally observe that there are two things we have to understand. One is thinking from brain, and second is thinking from heart. Okay, because there are some decisions or there are some works we as an individuals or humans must be taken by thinking from brain. Okay, thinking from brain normally connecting to logicality of logicality of it, right? How logical is this, right? Whether is this decision based on the present situation was right or not, right? This is what generally the thinking from the brain point of view. Whereas the second part is thinking from heart, right? Thinking from the heart perspective. Because when you start thinking from a heart perspective in some decisions, right? Because humanity, based on the humanitarian grounds and all that. So there is a difference between the kind of different decisions are we taking between these two things, because they should not be overlapped one another. Because if you're thinking, there are some decisions if you're taking from thinking from brain must be doing the same as like as the heart. Okay, but when we talk about emotions point of view, this is all connecting. It's a typical possibility that mind as well as heart will be connected here, especially because I think most of the people might be experienced, even of course including me, that whatever the kind of decisions we have taken will be a failure when we are in emotional state of mind. Because emotional state of mind never thinks about the logic. It thinks about, it carries, or it thinks about the situation what we are in. That's the reason why when we are in emotion, or when we are in stress, or when we are in a state of mind that way, where most of the decisions what we took will become a disaster. Understand, everyone? So this plays a vital and important role. Either we are working on working at whatever the workplace are we working, whether either we may be in mid-level managerial role, or we may belongs to the role where we were managing somewhere around 50 100 people and all that, or you may be an entrepreneur of yourself wherein you're leading your own enterprise establishments and all that. At the same time, you may be an teacher, or you may be a professor working for in a college or in university where you are guiding your students on the subject which you are expertise on. So these are all important to understand the kind of situation where are we in. That's the reason why we need to understand the difference between emotion and as well as feeling, because feeling is something conscious. Because I have to tell you the difference between these two things, because most of the people have a confusion over this. Emotion is something different than feeling. There is a slight bit of difference wherein you can understand, you can see between these two. Feelings are conscious, whereas emotions are subconscious. Because without unknowingly, without out of your control, whatever are we behaving is being connecting to emotions. This is all subconscious mind. Whereas feelings are a conscious state where whatever we felt, whatever we seen, or whatever we felt is what we call as feeling. So this is what the difference we need to understand. Okay, because again, the point I mentioned, I can say either it could be a feeling or it could be logic, which is not, or it could be an emotion. These two are not connecting to the logic part, because logical thinking would be applied either you're feeling on something or emotion, right? Whether you are in emotional state or in feeling, this part will not be connected, right? Because logical mind or logical thinking may not be applicable here itself, right? So this is what generally the difference wherein you between emotion as well as logic, emotion as well as feelings. Understand? Logic doesn't make any connectivity with this, because there is as logic if when you are in a state of feeling something, or when we are taking decisions, when we are in emotions and all, right? So this is what the difference wherein we have to find out between these two things. Clear, everyone? Now, what kind of or what sort of emotions do we have, right? What are the different things do we need to understand? So I'm just sharing my screen. Just give me more time. I'm sharing the screen and I'll explain you. Just a moment, please. Are you able to view the screen now?
No, Raj, can't see.
Just a minute.
This
One is
conference will
optimistic
now be
nature people.
recorded.
One is optimistic thinking nature people, and second was pessimistic thinking. I'll give you an example here. For example, let's say I went for an interview wherein I have attended an interview here. I failed because of different reasons. I failed here. Okay. Optimistic thinkers are the people who normally expects like where the problem was and how should I connect with the market demands. This is what normally an optimistic thinker always thinks. Means where am I? How to connect myself with market demands or employer needs, right? So this is what an optimistic thinker always thinks about future and all. But whereas a pessimistic thinkers are the people who always try to remember the kind of faults what they have made during the tenure of the interview, right? Because for example, if you start thinking about your past, whichever is happened, right? If you start thinking about your past, not all the times, not few times, all the times, whenever we start thinking about our past and all that, there are some problems which could be solved from your perspective or from your side. Maybe few or may not, right? Few may not, if you may not be in your hands. So it would be a really difficult and as well as challenging task for us to achieve success in an interview in future if you start pointing out all these points, because that really creates lot of stress. At the same time, that creates lot of demotivation among individuals, right? Because if you start thinking about the kind of problem what where I have did mistakes and all, if you start thinking about that, because some things are in your side wherein can be solved from your side, and some issues it's not in your territory. So pessimistic thinking person always try to think about the kind of problem I faced, about the kind of faults I am, but to get solution for that, it may be taking time, right? So taking time, it maybe it takes a lot of time for him to recover from that side. Whereas optimistic thinkers are the people who normally thinks from a perspective of how should I make myself, or how should I get succeeded in interview, right? In what way I have to get succeed in interview. This is what optimistic thinking. So this is all comes under the behavior aspect of an individual. So that's the reason three different uh, key elements we are three key elements we have in emotions. So wherein the one is subjective type. Ramesh, please go to the next slide. The three key elements here. The next slide. Next slide, Ramesh. Next slide. The next one. Yes. Thank you. So one is about subjective experiences and all that. The second was uh, psychological responses and all. And the third is about behavioral response. This is what most of the people faces here, because what kind of behavior are we in? Because whatever the topic are we discussing, majorly the kind of problems if anybody faces in their day-to-day life, most of the cases are connecting to the behavioral aspects of individuals, because how are we behaving and all that, right? So because the reason why I've just given an example to you about two things, right? So one is about optimistic thinking and second is about pessimistic thinking, right? So these are the two things. So these are the three key elements which emotions are into, right? So these are all three which are connecting to emotions here. uh, Now what is emotional intelligence is all about, right? So this is what we were discussing, because all this time whatever we discussed is about emotions, what are emotions and what are three key elements and all three key elements and all that. And now we were discussing about what is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the one we need to inculcate to come out of the situation where are we in, right? How are we coming out? Because how and fast response are we taking coming out of the problem, what are the problem we are in and all that, how fast are we coming out, and what kind of intelligence are we playing here? Either it is from the perspective of thinking, maybe it may be perspective of the kind of attitude or the behavior of many individuals and all that. How fast are we changing from uh, the state of emotions to an emotional intelligence? This is what the connectivity wherein we need to see from an emotional intelligence perspective. So if you refer next slide, Ramesh, please. If you let me quote you here, a gentleman called Howard Gardner. He has quoted about emotional intelligence is a kind of ability to understand other people and what motivates them and how to work cooperatively with them, right? Because it's not only about what am I thinking, but it is also about what other people are thinking. Because if these two matches, there are less possibilities for conflicts or carrying of emotions and all that, right? Because if these two are equal, right? Because if I start thinking from my side, at the same time, if I'm thinking the same from another side perspective and all that, this is what we call it as emotional intelligence is. Because it's not only from my side, I have to think from another perspective. I need to level, I have to level between these two. This is what we call it as emotional intelligence and all. And how are we working when we are in groups? In what way are we working? And how are these impacting us and all everything? This is what generally in emotional intelligence is all about. But there are some points which we have to understand. Ramesh, please go to the next slide. Because importance I've just given here, because importance of emotional intelligence I've given here, because uh, and it creates interpersonal awareness of individuals. At the same time, the kind of commitment do we have? At the same time, it improves our decision making. What are the decisions are we taking? It creates motivation among us, right? What are the kind of emotional motivation do we want to get out, right? So motivation, it can be created. So these are all important points which majorly impacts on emotional intelligence. Because why do we require emotional intelligence is because of these. Because if you want to take right decisions at the right time, if you are in managerial level or you are in entrepreneur, what decisions are we taking is not important. At what time are we taking decisions is important than decision making. Because decision making at the right time will gives you the fruitful results, but whereas decision making if you're taking on wrong time will give you an adverse effect, right? So hence decision emotional intelligence is important when we are taking decisions at the right time. This is important. The best example, uh, the kind of situation we were in now, right? Whatever the kind of decisions are we taking now, maybe approach towards providing services to the customers who are into the customer service, right? So they want the kind of approach they want to, or the kind of service or the kind of service they are providing to the customers earlier would be something different now. But most of the times nowadays everything was becoming online. Because nowadays, earlier, for example, let us take our profession into as an example. If you can see, we used to take corporate trainings for people who are in large group, around 300, 400, 500 people used to take seminars, workshops and all. Of course, it is for very few hours, not for a long session, I'm saying. Maybe for 1 hour, 2 hour sessions and all that. Maybe in near future, this will get reduced. Why? Because group gatherings and all, everything are not advisable, maybe near future, because of this pandemic situation we are in now. At the same time, maybe this may get affected on the training programs. What are we going to conduct at corporates? Because a small group of people, somewhere around for 20-30 people, wherein we are going for companies, we used to take trainings for them. That also may get affected because of that. So when are we in a state where, as far as our professions is concerned, at what time are we taking, and how fast are we changing, and how fast are we adopting the changes? Because see, unless until if you are not adopting the changes which is required at that point of time is more important. Because I should not look back and see that I used to take sessions, classroom sessions earlier, right? What about the situation now? If you start thinking that, if I start thinking that, maybe for a few time might be allowed. But if I start thinking about the past, the glory of mine, for days together and all that, it ruins my professional career, maybe present or in maybe in near future. So the situation we are in, we know that we don't have any solution as of now. What was the next thing we have to do is we have to take as many precautions as possible. At the same time, we have to adopt the kind of changes, or we have to adopt the kind of changes which are important for my career, right? So this is what emotional intelligence is connecting to decision making. With reference to decision making, I'm saying this because if I'm not taking this right decision, obviously it impacts on my professional career, maybe present as well as in future, right? Because so when it comes to decision making, the best advice from my side, my suggestion from my side is for anyone, right? Either whichever the profession people were in, right? Either what kind of profession people were in. Don't never ever try to think about the past, what we are in, right? Where, what profession, what we are in, what stage are we in past. Don't try to think about that. Because if you start thinking about the past, uh, your future may become miserable, right? So decision making is connecting to emotional intelligence, is connecting to decision making in this context. This is first point. And second is this emotional intelligence again plays a vital and important role in coordination of work. Because when we are in already explained the same, but again I'm just rewinding the same here now. The other point is when we are working on groups, right? Whenever we are working on groups and all that, coordination of work among people is more important here. So when we are working on groups, proper communication among people, whoever are in that group, is more important. Why I am saying about communication here is emotionally people will get distracted because of communication gap among people, or among public, or among people who works here. Because communication is also another impacted element for raising our emotions. Because let's say wherein we are working on group now, as in when you know about the present situation, whichever profession are we in, we normally we fight with deadlines, right? So because especially people who are in software will understand the kind of situation what I'm explaining now. Because client wants us to provide solution as earliest, or client wants the solution in very less time. Maybe sometimes it will be in a couple of hours we have to resolve these issues. So unless until if there is no proper coordination among people who are working on that respective group, where if there was a gap in terms of communication skills are concerned, because if there was no proper communication or no proper communication among these groups people, whatever the solution are we going to provide will get delayed. So if the solution was delayed because of this reason, company might pay according to the terms and conditions with the customer, with the client, whatever the conditions they were in. That's a different thing. So communication is also another important element when we are working on groups. Communication necessarily need not be a language, because most of the people have a misconception again here. I'm not saying, I'm not generalizing this. Few people have a misconception that communication nothing but language. Of course, language is a medium of communication, accepting that. But above all, what are we expressing and how are we expressing? This is what communication is. Because in communication, there is three set of practice. This is what we call it as TET practice. We call it as TET. Because most of the people normally ask us, right, what is communication is all. Communication is not only about the language fluency what we have, either it could be in English or it could be a regional language or whatever it is. Communication, or if you say that a person is effective in terms of communication, by considering 3 points. Those 3 points are as follows. One is T, second is E. T stands for T, because this is the practice which, of course, I have invented when I have giving live sessions for students, whoever or new entrants, whoever wants to improve their communication. When I teach, uh, when I conduct workshops to the people and all, this is the kind of practice been invented by me. Of course, you do. This is no way. This is no way you don't get any reference outside, because this is the kind of practice being identified by me. Communication will be effective on three things. One is, first is T. T stands for thought. What thought process or what thought you got in your mind. Second, the kind of expression, how are we expressing it? And the third T stands for timing. This is what we call it as communication skills are all about. Means, I'll give you a best example to you. You may be how good you are in terms of technical skills are concerned. Unless until if you are not expressing at the client side, when we are speaking to the client or when you are interacting with the client, if you are not delivering these properly, whatever the technical skill set do you have with respect to the software industry, I'm saying will be a failure, right? Will not have any value or will not have any use. So even though you have a thought, but you are failing on expression as well as timing, because you are not expressing it at the right time when you are interacting with your customer. So whenever you are not interacting with your customer at the right time, it will be a failure to you. So this communication skills or adopting this kind of communication or practicing this is more important in order to reduce the conflicts as well as the kind of emotions what may carries in groups are important, right? So this is for work coordination, which is more important. At the same time, emotional intelligence improves self-confidence among groups or individuals. That is also important, because it's not only about working in groups, or it's not only about the decision making. By end of the day, for any individual, if you say, because the topic what are we discussing is useful for each and every individual across the world. It's not really something connecting to the groups, which is because if you are adopting this, or if you are adopting emotional intelligence in anyone's individual lifestyle, there will be some changes, right? Positive changes happens. So the major part of changes happens in our professional career or something, definitely connecting to the self-confidence, because if you have an emotional intelligence and all that, for sure our self-confidence will get increased because of this. So these are the major things which are important for, or which are connecting to emotional intelligence, decision making, or the kind of self-confidence do we need to increase among us. At the same time, coordination of work, right? So these are all will happen because of emotional intelligence. Hence, now we need to talk about how do we need to adopt this EI in our professional career, because the example what I am taking is a professional career. Of course, can be adopted for a personal career as well, but majorly my example I am taking from a professional career perspective in any of the organization. Emotional intelligence and the kind of impact at the workplace I am saying. So there are 5 categories which where EI can be adopted. The first was about self-awareness. We need to know the very first thing what we have to understand was about the emotional awareness, because you must be aware of the kind of emotions what we have, whether are we an emotional person or not. We have to recognize ourselves, we have to recognize our personal behavior or our personal of myself, right, or ourselves. That is more important, right? Awareness, emotional awareness is more important, right? Am I an emotional person or not? Because I have to know about myself first than others. Because if I am not knowing about myself first, knowing about others will not have any value. So emotional awareness is more important under the self-awareness I'm saying. Whereas the second point is self-confidence, as I already told you just now a few minutes back. I've I told you the same thing, right? Self-confidence, because unless until if you are not increasing our self-confidence and all that, you cannot reach out the stage of emotional intelligence at workplace. Whereas the second point is self-regulation, where self-control is more important. I hope you people know about what is self-control is all about, right? Controlling on ourselves is more important, because if we don't have control on us, right, we cannot control the situations which are existed externally, because 2 things, one is internal, second is external. Internal is in ourselves, hence self-control is more important. External situations, if we want to control, first of all we have to control ourselves. So self-control is more important under self-regulation. And the second point is trustworthiness. About the importance of honesty, the power of honesty. In your workplace, at your workplace, which is more important, right? Trustworthiness, we have to develop the trustworthiness, which is more important here, because if you are improving honesty as well as integrity, right? So the kind of standards of honesty and integrity must be inculcated, because maybe a person who is educated or not, right? So because a person will be identified, recognized, not just by the way across the world. If you see, I think, hope you people have seen many examples, identifying and applauding an individual based upon the kind of behavior, based upon the kind of honesty and as well as integrity what they have, not just because of the kind of economical status what that individual or the kind of educational qualification they have or the kind of professional career or professional heights they were in. Uh, it is not valued here, right? Because trustworthiness is more important here, because unless until if we are not trustworthy, inculcating emotional intelligence will be a difficult and challenging task, right? The example what I have given, I hope you people have understood that, because it is nothing to do with the kind of professional career or growth or standard what that individual has, or the kind of qualification, educational qualification, or the kind of economical status they have. It's nothing to do with. A normal layman will also be honest of what is he doing or what she is doing. At the same time, integrity, trustworthiness, and all, right? So unless until if you are not building this, because if you start building this trustworthiness among yourself, among ourselves, obviously that impacts on us, on our nervous system, right? Unless and see, if I did wrong, assume that, for example, if I did wrong, obviously, even though if I'm not expressing this outside, but my nervous system and my subconscious mind will always tells that whatever I did is wrong, right? Maybe you may not be expressing this, or I may not be expressing this outside, but when I start thinking about myself, definitely I came to know that what mistakes I did and how honest I am, right? So trustworthiness is also an important element, which is all comes under self-regulation, right? Trustworthiness is important. And next, the third point is about we must be responsible for our performances, either it is low or high performances and all that. That responsibility should also be taken. This is what we call it as conscientiousness, right? Taking responsibility of this is of our performances, because I may be performing well or I may be performing low. So this is also another important point we have to consider as far as self-regulation is concerned. The other point is about adaptability. As I told you now, just now, the kind of situation, the pandemic situations we were in, already I have given an example to you, right? Unless until if you are not adopting ourselves in our present situation, right? If you are not adopting or flexible, if you are not flexible and adopting the kind of changes what are happening in the present situation, will gives us a miserable failure in future in terms of professional career. So adaptability is also important. Adaptability as fast as we can by understanding the changes, but make sure we must have a clarity of thought. Without having clarity of thought, adaptability will become a failure. Understand this point. Without having clarity of thought, if you start adopting, the changes will become a failure, because you are not clear on your mind, but you start adopting it. Because adopting the changes you're doing, but clarity of thought you don't have. So whatever the kind of actions are we performing, once you start adopting, most of the times those are the wrong ones, because you are not clear what you're going to do in near future, right? You will be in mess between two. So clarity of thought is important. Of course, I have not mentioned this here. Of course, for adaptability, that is more important. The next is about innovation, right? Innovation is also another important element, which is comes under self-regulation and all that. But this innovation comes when we are at problem times, right? Whenever we are in difficult situations and all, innovation starts, right? So you know about the best best word called you know about this thing like necessity is mother of inventions, right? Right. Necessity, right? Necessity makes us to innovate something, or to think something innovative, right? Which is more important. So innovation is also comes under here. This is all comes under self-regulation part. The first is about self-awareness. Knowing about ourself is more important. At the same time, regulating ourself, right? Whatever we know about us must be regularized. So we have to be controlled on these two. These are the two things which are comes under EI, right? Under five categories, these are the 2 points. One is self-awareness followed by self-regulation. The next slide. Go to the next. Motivation. Motivation is also important, because we have to motivate ourselves, which is more important, because don't never ever expect, even you people might be experiencing, but across the world, if you see, nobody will motivate us. We have to motivate, and we have to identify the ways of motivating ourselves, right? What made, for example, somebody used to read a success stories, right, to get motivated, right? Some people follow that. Somebody observe the situation and they get motivated. So different practices people start following to get motivation, which leads to a successful journey in next time, right? In future and all that, right? So motivation is also another important element wherein you need to understand. So motivation is also another important point here, right? So because of course I'm not reading anything here, because I'm just giving you the underline example of what is motivation all about. I hope you people have understood what I'm trying to say. So here optimism is important, optimistic thinking, that there's already been explained earlier, optimistic versus pessimistic thinking and all, right? So optimism and other. So motivation is also another important element. We have to motivate ourselves. At the same time, we have to motivate others. If you are in decision making role, or if you are in managerial role, or you are in entrepreneur role, it's not only about self motivation, it is also about how are we and what are we motivating others. How are we motivating others is also very important here, right? So this is all comes under the motivation and all that. Go to the next slide. Next is about social skills. Adopting social skills is also important. Of course, too much of adopting skill set, obviously not advisable. Hope you people know that. But social skills, adopting social skills is also an important element under EI, emotional intelligence, because unless until if you're not adopting social skills, because what is happening outside, how world is changing, right? How world is revolving, or how world is changing. Where are we, right? Because the example I have given, I hope 100% you cannot relate when I have given an example for an interview and all that, right? So what market as well as employer needs, that I have to understand. If I understand, my problem solution is easy. But if I start thinking from a perspective that where I did wrong, right, where I am wrong and all that, so it is really difficult for me to solve all that one by one, because it takes time, right? Sometime it may takes long time for me to rectify all that. So in spite of it, if I start thinking about how world changing and how market is moving, how situations were changing across world or across this environment and all that, if you start understanding that, that will gives you an additional advantage for you to adopt AI. This is one thing, social skills. At the same time, social skills in other sense, we call it as how communicative are you with others, right? The kind of PR, public relations skills with what we have and all that, right? Sharing our ideas, thoughts, right? And how are we moving with people, right? Because we should not uh, create pain to others. At the same time, we should not take pain, right? Sometimes we have to be balanced. That is balance of managing social groups or balancing socializing, whatever the social status or whatever the social group do we have and all that. That balancing must be there. So there are three things which has to be balanced in our career. One is about our professional life. The second is about social life. Nowadays, I'm saying, right? One is personal life, second is the social life, and third is our professional life. If we start adopting or if we start practicing of balancing these three, one, you'll be happy personally. The benefits I'm saying, right? We'll be happy personally. The second point is you get professionally, you get very good recognition, right? If you start balancing that. The third is about social life should also be balanced nowadays, because lot many opportunities nowadays in individuals were getting because of this. The best example, if you can see the kind of social networking sites do we have, like LinkedIn and all that, those are all professional website, professional social sites where we can share our ideas, we can share our thoughts. At the same time, the kind of opportunities what we have, or if you want to grab some opportunities and all these were available. All these are possible for us to adopt because of these websites and all, right? If you're taking from a positive side, I'm saying, I'm not talking from a pessimistic point of view. I'm thinking from an optimistic point of view and all that. If you start, because social skills earlier, because in older day, if you say that we need to interact people directly, right? This is what social skills are all about earlier. But nowadays, situation was changed a lot, because even till now, for example, now just as our session take as an example, you people were connecting across the world from different time zones, right? You are not known to me and I am not known to you, but still we are interacting among us and we are sharing our experiences, we are sharing our thoughts, we are sharing our feelings, or we are sharing our experiences, ideas and all that. So it doesn't makes, it is nothing to do with any direct interaction, doesn't require. Of course, nowadays, maybe in future may not be encourageable, uh, uh, gathering of groups and all that, at least for some time, because of the situation we were in. But social skills nowadays must be active in the social sites, which gives us positive impact, right? Which gives us positive impact. So balancing of three things: one is about our personal life, second our social life, third is our professional life. These are three important elements which are more important. Means if you try to balance these three, emotional intelligence is more important, because these three are connecting again with emotional intelligence.
Raj, I'm
Because
sorry to interrupt here.
please go ahead, please.
Yeah. Could you help me understand the difference between social life and professional life,
Yeah.
so that
Yes.
maintaining balance around these three components can be easy?
Yes. See, Personal life, you know that. I need not to explain you, right? Personal life is different with your family, family, your wife, kids, and all, right? So this is all considered as personal life. The second is professional life, the kind of business or the kind of job we were working. This is all considered as professional life, we are saying. Social life is an intermediate between these two. Either there are friends, maybe your friends or close friends group, whatever you have, or the kind of professional people who are not directly connecting to your professional experience. For example, I'm a coach or a trainer. My professional touch will be with some education institutions and all that. But when it comes to social skills is concerned, necessary need not be from the same stream, because I may be having some social contact with the people who is from healthcare domain, may not be directly connecting to my professional work, but still maintaining these social skills with these people, maybe directly or through some networking sites and all that. Obviously eventually this will gives you in value addition in near future. This is all comes under social life. I'm saying social life means which is connecting, which is differentiating between these two. One is about personal life and second is professional life or work life. Professional life means I am saying work life. Social life is doesn't mean the kind of friends whoever we have and all that. At the same time, the kind of new people whoever we were the kind of new people we are what we call the kind of new people we were the kind of new
The
people
kids, the kids are not letting you take the session, I guess.
yeah. This is in the evening my kid is crying for some reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on the other side. Okay, sorry for interrupting you. Right. So social life is this. Social life doesn't mean the kind of uh, friends whoever we have and all that. At the same time, people may not be connecting to our professional careers and all that. So that also must be balanced, because this will give you a professional growth even in near future. Because for example, if I want to get some new opportunities in terms of training, if I'm not inculcating this from my experiences, I'm saying, right? Maybe you can relate for other professional careers as well. For sure, it will be helpful. It's a win-win situation, because the social skills, for sure, maybe in future, it will be connecting to win-win situation, win-win situation for both the parties, right? So social skills will be of this. Understood? Clear? I think. Uh,
Yeah.
is this Lakshmikant you're asking?
Yes.
Go ahead, please,
Yeah.
please.
What I understood is personal life is the crucial component. If I am well stable and balanced in my personal life, then there comes a possibility of whether I will be good at my social life and professional life. However, when I look at these three components, personal life, social life, and professional life, what I'm understanding is the social life and professional life are almost same, or they get along, they're very similar, or what I'm saying is if social life is balanced, automatically the personal life, there will be more possibilities that I'll be doing well in professional life as well. So what is this?
Right.
What is the significant thing here? Professional life or social life?
Yeah. See, the point is, see, you cannot ensure that your social life will be, or your social life contacts, whatever I am saying, necessarily need not be helpful all the times in your professional life or in your personal life. Need not be. But social life definitely enriches the knowledge what an individual have and what you are not. For example, you are working on an orbit where you don't have much exposure towards adopting new technologies, or you may not have an situation where you want to understand the situations which are changing across the world. Because of the social skills, this knowledge can be adopted. This knowledge you can increase. You can increase the knowledge. Because, for example, I'm being a profession, I'm being into profession. As far as my profession is concerned, I'm saying, as I'm a behavioral and management trainer, most of my, as far as my example is concerned, I'm saying, right, I'm not relating for everyone. As far as my experiences or my exposure of knowledge gaining is concerned, unless until if you are not socializing with people, I cannot get examples. Because don't take it in other way, please. Because unless until if I am not gathering, or if I am not in with public, right, how people were behaving, right, and how people were interacting, how people were motivating, right, all these things I can observe. Because I cannot always read books, I don't get knowledge. Because reading book definitely will gives me a knowledge, but to some extent, may not be full extent. But whereas if I am observing people, whoever are there, whoever may not be connecting to my personal as well as professional life, whoever they're outside, if I'm interacting with them, maybe through different means of communication modes and all that, so that I come to know the kind of behavior or the kind of attitude what they have and all. So these are the kind of experiences which I can share with others. So this way it is connecting to my professional life also. Understood? Clear, Lakshmikant? You're clear or not? Because of the observation I had with the social skills, right? Social life and all that, because of the observation and all that. This for sure somewhere, may not be all the times, but in some places, some areas, these are my examples where I can share with people, where another person may not be experienced this opportunity I have got just because of the kind of social skills what I have. So you cannot relate this with, for sure this cannot be related for every profession, may not be, right, whatever you said might be right. I cannot relate this same with every profession and all, but to some extent, for sure the social skills will help us to enrich our knowledge. May not be directly it is benefiting your professional life, but enriching your knowledge or updating yourself to the next level, for sure this will be helpful to you. Maybe in terms of our communication, or maybe in terms of behavioral, or maybe in terms of the knowledge we want to acquire in our expertise fields and all that. For sure these are all will be helpful to us. Clear, Lakshmika? Understood?
Hello, hi Rajesh. I just want to add some few points
Name please.
in
Your name please.
Manpreet Kaur.
Yeah,
So,
please, Manpreet, go ahead.
yeah, if this participant is getting some few confusion to understand the differentiation between professional and social life, so I just want to add my own experience in
Yeah,
that.
please,
So
please.
if he's getting, so social life and professional life is not similar. So professional life, it can be depend based on your professionalism, and social life can be uh, can depend on the things who are helping you in your personal life. So this is the understanding that I can say based on my explanation.
I agree with you, Manpreet. However, when it comes to helping, even
Yeah.
if we notice, our professional life is also helping us in some way.
Yeah, but somewhere it depends. I think so. You should read some more tutorials, more YouTube videos. Just follow that, then you will be able to understand the things more in a better way.
Yeah. All right. I
Yeah.
recently started reading about this stoicism also. What I understood up until now is there are two components to remain balanced in my life. One is my personal life, and another one is social life. Personal, where I can introspect myself for the good things I have, bad things I have, good behavior, bad behavior. I can self-assess myself, push myself towards positivity, slow transition, as much as my subconscious mind can process it. And eventually, at the same time, how am I interacting in my social setups, social environments, how people are perceiving me, and more than focusing on, yeah, focusing on what I'm talking. At the same time, more than that, focusing on how people are taking what I'm talking. Am I offending them? Am I making them comfortable? Am I making them feel the way what I want them to feel about me when we talk about ideas or share values or moral things or any social things. So personal life and social life, if these things are balanced, then professional life is a combination of both your social skills, what you have gathered experience by interacting and learning and teaching at the same time from the crowd, and personal life, what you have achieved from your personal family members and who are related to you, and your self-assessment thing. And then once the balance is seen here, then the clarity comes in what profession or how much would you be credible in your professional life. Now Raj sir has made a little complicated for me. I was in an impression that there are two components: personal life, social life. ये दोनों को balance में रखो. Rest all things will get clarity. You don't have to worry about future. Don't regret about the past. Just live by the day. I have a plan for this week, this month, this 6 months, and this year. Work on that, and automatically life should progress towards positivity. Now, if I'm seeing three different components, as per Raj sir said, professional life, personal life, social life, if I look at these things as separate components to achieve balance in my personality or myself, it is a little confusion to process, I guess. That's the reason I asked if
Lakshmika,
somebody is. Yes, sir.
can I clarify this?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think your question. Thanks for that. See, why I've differentiated three different points nowadays is there is a need nowadays, because earlier, if you closely observe, because of the kind of professional journey we have, if you take in mid 90s or before early 90s or late 80s and all that, professional career for any individual across the world will be restricting only to some extent, not for the full extent. Maybe most of the people will be confined towards government professions and all that. So some sort of private professions and all that. But if you observe since last decade and a half and all that, where whenever the IT information technology has evolved, and as well as the interest and as well as the importance people have identified, different professions, different profiles, different business models evolved these days. Okay, lot many opportunities increased day by day. Lot many opportunities, lot many business job opportunities, lot many professional what we call professional careers were evolving nowadays. because their importances and all everything, because of different situations, these are all changing. So my point here is, why am I differentiating these three words? Earlier, if you see, social skills has less importance. Because why am I differentiating social skills as separate with personal and as well as professional life was because earlier, if you observe, the example I have given you in late 80s or early 90s or late 90s and all that. Social skills has less importance. Social skills nothing but only your friends, and as well as close friends of yourself and all. This is what social skills are all about those days. But after that, if you start because of the information technology and all across the world, that just now I've given an example, wherever you are, I'm somewhere, you are somewhere, but our ideas, our thoughts and all everything we are sharing because of the kind of platform being created because of the information technology. Okay, so social skills nowadays are more important, and we have to differentiate this with remaining two, because professional skill is what, where am I working, right? The kind of orbit we are in. For example, I'm working for a healthcare organization and all that. My contacts for sure helpful, which is into healthcare, not more than that normally, right? Because my day-to-day contacts and all that, where I may not get a chance to explore myself in other areas other than healthcare, because my environment in terms of professional journey is very limited, because it's only confined towards healthcare and all that, right? Healthcare sector and all that. But forget about personal life, personal skills and all that, right? That's it. Forget about that. That is a normal this thing, which is your family, your friend, uh, kids, your wife, right? And all that, right? So your relatives and all. Forget about that. Social skills, why I'm saying is, social skills must be balanced, because there are some situations where not only your expertise, but apart from your expertise, assume that if I'm into healthcare domain, I might be required to explore my skills about than healthcare somewhere, some may be near in future. Maybe I may need some kind of contacts. Maybe for my professional growth, I may be needed, maybe in near future. So you never know, right? You see, we never understand this kind of situation we get. We never know, right? So but the situation we got now. So what are we doing? What are we doing now? We are understanding. First of all, it is very difficult for us to understand earlier days, but now people have started understanding the situation. Now people are adjusting. The third one is people are adopting the change, right? So this is unfortunate situation which was happened. But what happened first, people started feel panic about this, but afterwards what they were doing, simply they start adopting, and what kind of changes and what kind of precautions to be taken and all that we are doing. So the same way, when we talk about social skills, why I'm saying maybe in near future, whatever the kind of professional journey are we in, sometimes we need some other expertise which is not from my expertise, right? Might be required. So that time the social skills are more useful to us. So that's the reason why social skills have differentiated with professional skills, as well as uh, uh, personal skills, as well as professional skills. Social skills, why I've differentiated, because of this. Because earlier we have a less opportunity to interact with people, right? Very less opportunity. But nowadays we have lot many mediums we have to interact with different people across the world. Even though all these people may not be useful, maybe now or in future, for my professional growth, necessarily need not be, but to share my expresses, to share my experiences, to share my ideas, or to understand their experiences, or to acquire some knowledge, for sure this social skills is being used from a positive side. I'm saying from an optimistic side. That's the reason why the social skills and all everything I've differentiated because of this reason. Lakshmikant, you understood this, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying. I think yes.
Just think over, because this is my understanding. This is what I have understood, especially uh, based upon the present situation, what I have seen and all that. This is of what my understanding is all about. Of course, you may be, you may get confused because of I honor your thoughts, maybe, but
No, I
still,
appreciate your
this is what.
willingness to bring clarity to whatever the thought flows that are happening. However, you just spoke about
Go ahead.
adaptability, right?
Right,
And
right.
as far as adaptability is concerned, um,
Hmm.
adaptability comes to surface when we see there is something that we don't have clarity in ourselves as a norm. So when we
Hmm.
say we have to change it, we have to adapt to it. When you adapt to it, then it becomes a norm. When it becomes a norm, then there is balance. So as far as
Hmm.
adaptability is concerned, in the three components, the three elements that we have, social life,
Hmm.
professional life, and personal life.
Hmm.
What if my mindset is very good at personal, a little bit moderately good at social, a very good at professional?
Hmm.
How, when I identify adaptability, yes, I have to adapt. I have to be good to my family, or I have to work harder and get the promotion and make some name in my office. And as far as social thing is concerned, I have to help the people who are in need and also seek help from people who are good in a better position to help me out. When my mind doesn't accept to that adaptability, when I'm seeing this is good for me, I know this is going to help for my personal life, I know this is going to help for my professional life. If I get on to studying this, if I study for 4 hours per day, whatever I'm practicing, whatever I'm interview, whatever I'm discussing with my friends and all, 4 hours per day, this is going to make my life. I know if I help that poor needy person, that person will talk to four other friends that, yeah, Lakshmi helped me and certain dire situations and something. I know that is good, but I find myself in a situation where at times I know what is the good thing that I'm supposed to do, but I won't be able to do. I won't, I don't know, I don't know whether to call it laziness, or it's not that I don't have willingness to help others or to help myself or to help my family, but how to understand that how adaptability works. Why am I not good at adapting things? Why am I struggling hard to adapt things, even if I know this is going to bring value to my personal life, to my social life, to my professional life? Why adaptability is so hard? Why my mind doesn't accept it? Not all the
Yes,
times, but sometimes.
sometimes. Yeah. See, because the reason
Yeah, but
adaptability changing. Go
uh,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You
it
go ahead. You go ahead. Please. Please carry on.
yeah, it
Please carry on.
happens. Yeah, it happens to everyone sometimes because we need inner acceptance for it. So there are multiple uh, problems in your life you want to do, but inner you want to do, you want everything you want to do, but sometimes you are not getting that acceptance from your inner soul. So there are some differences. So this is kind of a complicated emotion intelligence, I can say. So
Yeah.
you
Yes.
have to work on that. Yeah.
See, the point is, see, adaptability will be difficult sometimes, as Lakshmikant has you have quoted. Thanks, Manpreet. Thanks for
Yeah, yeah,
sharing your
thank you.
thought. Manpreet, as far as Lakshmikant, as far as your question is concerned, adaptability will be difficult sometimes because of few reasons. One is the kind of environment you have grown, because sometimes the kind of environment we have grown, like for example, let me give you an layman example. There are some changes which are normal changes, I am saying, a normal changes, I am saying, not something big, normal small changes or small lifestyle changes and all that. Being a person who born and brought up in an urban environment, it is easy for you. But whereas the same thing, if you start comparing with the people from the rural environment, because of the grown up area what they have, because of the kind of environment what they have and all that. Changing the lifestyle or the kind of changes what normally an urban civilized person, I'm saying, right, urban civilized person is expecting, is for sure it is required, may not be feels right for a person who raised in a environment from the rural background, because the kind of environment they were in, by the kind of uh, people in and around them, right, this may not be good to them, right, this may not be feel right to them. So the kind of environment where we have grown is more important, because from their perspective that they may be right, because we have to honor everyone's thoughts, we have to honor everyone's ideas and all that. So there is, I'm not differentiating any two different people, I'm not doing that, but there are some grown up situations where the people were grown. So that is one, adaptability changes and all every difficulties people faces because of this, one point. Second, because of fear, because most of the people, because I'll tell you the best example, of course I'm not 100% I'm relating, but to some extent I'm relating. For a few years back, I've taken a workshop, a public workshop I have taken for about 3-4 company people have attended. I have taken on some topic like this, emotional intelligence kind of stuff. I have taken a workshop. I'm talking about the point of fear, I'm saying. Fear and all that, right? Fear or hesitation or something, right? Whatever the word I can say. There was a gentleman whom I met at the time of break session, a well experienced person, and he's almost equivalent to my age. Maybe economically he's above to me. Even in communication, he's more than me, right? He's very good at vocabulary. He's very good at communication. Comparing to me, I'm saying. So he was impressed to some extent. I don't say 100% because I cannot say that. Right? So to some extent, he was impressed with my presentation, what I did in the first half, what I made in the first half. After that, when we had in break and all that, he asked me one thing, Raj, please don't mind, because but don't think that way the other way that I'm taking leverage on this. I'm equally experienced than you, almost age, experience, professional career. I'm in this profession, some XYZ profession and all that. This stage I'm in. But I have this intuition in my mind that I want to take up these kind of workshops because I know I'm capable person to handle this. I know well about, I know about my strengths and all that. But I'm thinking that I want to be on there, right? In front of the people, I want to share my experiences. I want to take workshops. For lot many days or lot many few years, I was thinking, but I am not able to do that. What is the reason, right? This is what he has asked me. The one answer what I have given is only one thing is, Sarji, you are still in a stage of thinking, I want to do, but myself, according to myself is concerned, I've already did that. I already there. I'm on the stage. I'm started. I already started. But still, you are in the stage where you are thinking and you are about to. But where you are not sure, because of maybe because of his professional commitments, maybe because of his fear, maybe because of the kind of whatever the reasons it could be. Still, he knows that he'll be successful to start this career as an add-on to his professional life, but still he couldn't because of the kind of fear or whatever the reasons it could be. That is what the example have said. So you're in that mode that you are about to, but I've already did, I'm already there, you're here. That's only the difference. If you are started thinking, and if you are very confident, and if you are very clear about your thoughts that you can do it, you start adopt it, you start do it. First of all, see, if you start, unless until you don't start, you don't know about the kind of mistakes or the kind of flaws what you have and all that. And if you start thinking about yourself that I'm going to do and all that every day, if you start thinking, will not have any value unless until if you start it. So when you start doing it, then start thinking, where am I going wrong, and try to rectify yourself as fast as you can, so that you'll be succeeded here. So this, because of the kind of fear, maybe because of the people, what people have fear and all that. So these are the different factors where adaptability and all everything may not be possible or may be difficult in some areas for the people. Because I've just given few examples to you. I'm not giving all. Hope Lakshmikant, I hope you understood this. Because of the situation where we are born and brought up, raised, the kind of environment we are in, the kind of fear which people have, right? At the same time, the kind of perceptual thinking, thought process, mindset, right? So these are all the barriers, because of course these are the barriers which you cannot see outside within ourselves, right? So these are the barriers which may impacts on adaptability, sometimes will be difficult for the people to do. Clear, Lakshmikant? Are you clear or not?
Yes, Raj. Here, what is happening is, as far as the atmosphere, the environment is concerned, now that we have come this far, and I really appreciate the way you are trying to help me out, bring clarity, and also, yes, Manpreet Kaur, right? Manpreet, also, I appreciate your guys' patience. But see, generally around me, I come from a lower middle class family. I'm an Indian. I live in Bangalore alone, rented house. Okay. Had a job, had some health issues, life and death situation. I was on a ventilator. Doctor raised hands. We can't do anything. Only God can help this fellow. And somehow they did some experiments on me, which were not certified to be as part of treatments. But some experiments somehow saved me, and my family completely said, no need to stay in Bangalore, no need to work, just stay here, eat food, and stay happy, stay healthy, whatever we need. We have you, you stay in front of our eyes. So somehow 1 year passed, 1.5 years passed, 2 years passed, and it affected me emotionally as well, intelligence level as well, and personally in every possible way. I was broken, and self-underestimation had taken its toll, and I thought maybe I'm fit for nothing. In fact, just before hospitalization, I was working as a technical expert in whatever field I'm coming from, and I had plans and everything. Now I'm in a phase in my life wherein I have all kinds of people. The self-underestimation, yes, I have taken care of them. I read so many books. I spent time on YouTube videos, some university lectures of like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours about subjects like these, how to personally empower oneself without being judgmental about our situation. My life is like this only, my health is like that only, don't have money only, I don't have good place only. So I'm above all those things now. I really appreciate the situation I'm in right now. But from this point on, my life is gonna begin. So as far as the core point here, which attracted my mind, how to achieve balance between professional life, social life, personal life. As far as these three components goes, adaptation plays a crucial role here. In each of these different segments, how much adaptable am I? That is going to decide how well am I in professional life, how well am I in social life, how well am I in my personal life. But when you highlighted this environment kind of stuff, mostly I'm optimistic person, and mostly if somebody is coming to me regarding any sort of help in my ability, I'll rather prefer them to do much better than me, and economical wise, personal wise, professional, whatever I have, I offer them. However, I know around me there are so many positive vibes, positive energy, negative vibes, negative energy, positive people, negative people. My habit of being optimistic, my habit of being acha banna, acha raho, acha socho, acha seeko, be positive, stay towards the positive side of things. Simultaneously, be aware of the negative side as well, and keep yourself safe. Yourself safe in sense, my mind. I might have control on my physical aspects and my mental aspect, but I'm very sure and very clear about I, or anybody for that matter, they have no control on what happens to them on an emotional point of view. Our subconscious mind, nobody can control that. It's a mixture of combination of some ingredients that God knows what. I might be, when I'm aware and conscious, I behave like this. This is my quality. This is my ability and everything. When I'm in unconscious, there is something in subconscious mind where my true identity is defined. To understand that, how am I gonna behave or perceive or respond or react to situations that are gonna come before me? One thing keeps me worried: how to identify negative vibes, negative energy, negative people around me, how to identify them, and without being judgmental, how to keep my mind safe from getting exposure to all those things. Because whether I like it or not, I keep hanging around with bad people. Definitely, over a period of like 3 months, I will have some sort of contagious emotions. Are contagious, right? I will learn some things from them. Naturally, if I get myself hanging around with good people from who are elder to me, whom I can learn from, who can teach me, who can guide me, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever, over a period of time, some emotions, by the factor of contagiousness, I will learn from them subconsciously. Now my concern is, as far as positive people are there, that is one thing. How to get rid of or identify negative vibes, negative energy, that I don't know. Maybe my friend is into something that I'm not identifying, that it is not good for me, my personal life, professional life, and my social life. How to, without being judgmental, without breaking any relationships, how to keep my mind safe? Because I understand, what am I viewing, what am I being exposed to, what my activities and habits are, that are going to influence all these three components. So if I'm protecting these components, my professional life, my social life, my personal life, if I'm taking care of them, if I'm nourishing them like a plant or tree to someday bloom and grow, give fruits and flowers and everything, then I have to learn how crucial, or what is the art of being adaptable to the situation without being offending to others. What is the art of getting rid of negative people without being judgmental, without offending them, or without even telling them. I just want to keep myself and my people around me safe, with good habits and with good intentions, and with going towards the possibility of prosperity. After all, life is all about prosperity and enjoying the journey, right? There is no goal. You might have earn money, you might have get objects, things, cars, luxury, all the luxuries you can get, but the journey and what extent I'm enjoying in a healthy, positive, around amazing, good people around me, that is what matters. At the end of the day, when I die, people won't talk how much he earned, what job he was in. People will only talk about how was he, how many people he helped liberate, how many people he helped come up in life, how many people he took care of. Yeah, that is what they talk about. So my question here is, how do I identify negative energy around me? How can I protect myself from negative energy? Maybe my family members are doing that. Maybe my friends are doing that. Maybe people who think they are helping me and guiding me and giving me good suggestion, or are my mentors. I don't know. Because being optimistic, my habit of being optimistic, think positive in everything, maybe I'm losing something.
Right. So the answer for your question, thanks for your time, Lakshmikant. The answer is here as follows. See, there is nothing called good and bad, because it depends on the situation, that will change, right? Point number one. Second point, influence is something different than observation, because if anyone from my side, I'm saying, as far as my experience is concerned, how to get rid of negative energies or negative people, if this is your question, the answer is, there are differences between the observation and as well as influences, right? Because see, even anyone's career, maybe there are some people who are, there will be some different energies, like some positive energies will be there and negative energies will be there and all that. But being an individual, we have to identify the difference between observation as well as influence. If you start observing the situations or the kind of action what an individual or what a group of people were doing is entirely different than influence. See, when you start adopting, or when you start adopting a point called as influence, there your problem comes, right? Because influences should not be there on anyone. Because see, as an individual, if I'm a person, I'm a person like this, because I cannot act like someone like XYZ, right? I cannot, because if I start doing this, it is considered as an acting, because it's not my inner soul, because my inner soul is something different than what I'm doing here is. So here the point is that we need to focus more on observing people when we are interacting. My answer here is that if you want to get rid of negative energies around us, the very first thing is that we need to know the difference between observation and as well as influence, because most of the people will uh, uh, will wipe off this observation point and will be influenced. Because of that, whatever you're saying becomes, because the negative energies will comes on to me, because I'm getting influenced because of them unnoticingly. But if I know the difference between observation and influence, negative energies will be wiped away to some extent, because I cannot say 100%. 100% guaranteed cannot be given anywhere, even including me. I cannot give 100% guaranteed. Of course, still, of course, even as a suggestion, to some extent, negative energies can be controlled if you understand the difference between observation and influence. If you start influencing of someone's behavior or someone's thoughts and all that, obviously that leads to a next level, right? So that should not be there. Only observation. Till observation, if you understand and try to judge yourself at this point of time, whatever the decision or whatever they were speaking was right or not. So that observation every time is almost useful and safe for any individual, rather than influences. If you start thinking from an influence perspective, these points will come into picture. Understand, Lakshmikant? Clear or not?
Yeah, so you're asking me to lean more towards the observational point of view or influential point of view?
Sometimes, I'll tell you one thing. So when there is a point called as risk management, right? I think most of the people, maybe from management or somewhere, risk management and all that. There is risk management has stages. What are these? First is risk identification. Second, risk assessment. Third is possible avoidance. The fourth one is risk transfer. These are the four things we discuss in project risk management, wherever they are. You can see. One is risk identification. Second is assessment, how bad it will impacts. Third point, risk ignorance, right? You have to avoid the risk as much as you can. Fourth point, if it is getting affected, so what happens normally? Risk will be shared with others. Sharing of risk, so that sharing of work, so that it will be balanced. The same thing happens here as well. You need to identify. It happens only with observation. You need to understand that, observe, you need to identify the situation. The second point is you need to assess the impact. The third is possible, you have to avoid. The fourth point was you need to transfer it. So those are the four levels where risk management tells you. The same theory can be implied even in the negative states and all that. Of course, you cannot transfer the negative energies to others, which is not clear. So, but the third point can be risk can be ignored. The as same as the way negative people can be ignored, right? If you start ignoring people, and if you start uh, roaming in and around the uh, positive energies in and around you, will be the only solution here. So it is happens only with observation, not with, because you cannot come to a conclusion unless until if you're not observing anything. So it's all possible through observation, because most of the people don't do that. Observation, I'm generalizing, I'm not generalizing this. To some extent I'm saying I may not be right all the times, but observation, we simply ignore the observation and we start trying to influence. That's the reason why negative influences will be more on us. So if you don't want to have negative influences more on us, In spite of influence, better to observe, try to assess that, try to ignore. So these are the better ways for us. This is my suggestion, or this is my clarification for your question. Clear, Lakshmikant? Clear or not? Harjita, Manpreet, Kula, Lakshmikant, YS?
Yes, I am clear.
Everyone? Right. So, is there anything, any questions? Okay.
Yep. It's not a question exactly, Raj. Recently, I've come across one of the guys who wrote a book about Stoicism and by Mark Manson, and another author. His book title is The Art of Thinking Clearly, where the pattern, the storyline here is he was in a difficult situation in his teenage years, and because of his atmosphere, family beliefs, and religions and science and logic all bombarded and confused him. So he started referring to university websites and researchers and sciences and journals of psychologies, too many reports, and he wrote small things wherever he came across a situation wherein it was difficult for him to make decisions. For example, I'm this much old now. Should I get married? I'm earning this much. Should I get a home? Or I'm married now for like 2 years now. Should I have a kid? Or my relations are asking for some money as part of some investment somewhere. Should I give them money or not? Or maybe my doctor is suggesting I enroll myself in some yoga thing. Should I go or not? Any sort of decision that comes to that person, how exactly are we gonna make decision? And how would you justify to yourself that your decision is right without the influence of what your likes are and your dislikes are? In a neutral, non-judgmental way, how are you going to justify all your decisions, what you did in your life?
Yeah,
So when
see,
the journals,
yeah, please go ahead. Sorry for that. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
yeah,
Please carry.
so that happened. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me finish this. That the
Yeah,
collecting
thank
of journals of psychology and noting down all the situations, correlating the solutions or answers in psychology, how human mind works on a conscious level and subconscious level, and creating solutions for his decisions that happened for over 30 years. And one of his friends suggested, why don't you write this as a book and publish it so that everybody can learn? Because I'm sure these kind of decisions in personal life, professional life, and social life, everybody's coming across these kind of problems day and night. So why can't we help others, whoever want to learn from them? So there came a book called Art of Thinking Clearly. So that book talks about something, and it talks like you. The reason why we are having these kind of problems is we don't know ourselves. We don't know who we are, how we are supposed to be. We have to understand how our mind works. We have to understand how relationship works. We have to understand how money works. We have to understand all sorts of things that we are seeing around us. Only then we somehow will be capable to make good decisions. I'm not saying 100% best decisions. You'll be at least closer to accuracy, or you'll be along the direction of prosperity. But who has the time to teach or learn, or who has the patience to go through all these things, to know ourselves, to know our true potential, to highlight our true potential, to work on them, to fine tune them so that they remain relevant and compatible to the ever fast changing world around us? What do you suggest is the best way to get clarity into everything that we do in life? Maybe I'm eating food today. I should know this is going to give me positive thoughts, energy, and strength in my body, in my mind, or this is going to ruin me. Is it a pizza, burger, or some vegetable curry? That is a small silly example maybe, but my question here is, Raj, or rather I'm going through that book. I read it twice and I couldn't understand. Maybe I'm too slow to understand things, or maybe he's talking too much about logic and fallacies or human cognitive errors that we make knowingly and consciously and very confidently. We make errors and mistakes in our life when it comes to wasting money, breaking or wasting relationships, or our professions, messing up with our careers and health and everything. What is your personal life like? How do you see things? What I want to learn from you is how to bring that clarity and remain calm, understand things, and take decisions whatever you think is justified, without the influence of you like it, that's why you did it. No, 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 you don't like it, that's why you're not doing it. Not like that. Whether I like it or not, this is the right thing to do, that is the reason I did it. How to achieve that thing, Raj?
Yes. See, thanks for your query. See, the point is here, first is reality has to be understood. This is the very first thing which anyone has to understand. Reality is more important. What is the real situation? That is very important. And the second thing, as the reference of the initial point I've quoted to you, again, the same thing I've just given. As far as the decision is concerned, two things. One is thinking from mind and thinking from heart. Taking decisions using mind, taking decisions using heart. If you know the clarity between these two things, whatever the decisions are we taking, right, will be right at most. But the major point is that, see, for example, when you want to take a decision, something relating to financials or investments and all that, which one will you use? Are we using mind or heart? If you start using your heart, your investment will become a failure. Because if you start thinking from your heart, obviously emotion will be connecting to that. But here you have to implement a logic here. If I'm investing, for example, I'm investing 10,000 rupees, right? Indian rupees and all that, right? For what reason I'm investing this money? This investment must be multiplied, right? Multiplication. It should be multiplied. At least not even multiplied. It should be added. Additional somewhere around 1,000 rupees to be added into this. This is what my thing is. If you start thinking from a mind, which gives you a logical idea, you will be succeeded. Same time, the kind of decision what is involved for financial decisions and all, if you're thinking from heart, what happens? Obviously, whatever the decisions you have taken will be a failure here. So the decisions, what are we taking? We must have a clarity between two things. One is thinking from mind, second thing is thinking from heart. Decisions to be taken from mind is entirely different than thinking or decisions what we are taking by understanding our feelings or heart. So if you differentiate, or if we start understanding these two differences and all that, our decisions making will be perfect as much as it can. I cannot say 100%, but as much as it can, it will be succeeded, because if we know the difference between these two things. So this is what I can tell you finally, because in brief note, I'm not extending this answer for you. In a brief understanding, if I say, decisions which is to be taken from mind should be taken that way. Decisions which is to be taken by listening our heart should be taken that way. Don't mix up these two and don't confuse in this. If we start confusing these two, obviously whatever we have taken, finally that leads to a failure. As far as my experience and understanding is concerned, this example I have given you, it may be wrong in some phases, right? Because this is my observation and my experience. Are you clear, Lakshmikant?
Yeah,
Clear
Raj,
now?
you'll believe it or not, even my father said the same thing. When to think, when to consider your heart, and when to consider your mind. But as you can see, my father comes from a different generation, and I come from a different generation. Not to put him down or not to appreciate whatever he said was 100% correct. The thought that comes to my mind is, if I'm using my mind for that investment purposes, and that is not going to give an easy time for the people who are working on that, I won't be able to I won't see that as a justified decision. At the same time, if I think about my heart on that particular investment, wherein the people who are working on that particular investment have to spend, instead of 8 hours, maybe 6 hours or 7 hours or something like that, but still productivity is somehow achieved over a period of, like, if the deadline is like 3 months, maybe 3.5 months should be fine. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you are wrong. What I'm saying is, whatever decisions I take through my mind, through my heart, equally contributed such that the result or the outcome that comes, or people who are involved in the stakeholders, the people who are working on that, if they are not having a hard time, irrespective of whether I'm mentally, intelligently correct, or with my emotions and heart I'm correct or wrong, if they are not going to have a good time working on that particular concept or investment, money or work, my result is completely like decided. If I take the correct decision based on my intelligence, but if the work people who are involved or partners or stakeholders are not happy about it, my decision is wrong then and there. If I'm taking considering my heart to for that investment 10,000, people who are working on it, I understand. I took it from my heart. I want them to be happy, or I want them to be easy for them, not to stretch them too much to work on that particular investment, so that it becomes multiplied in another 6 months maybe, or 3 months maybe. But if I'm taking with my heart, if they are not happy about it, my decision is decided here itself in my heart. So how am I justifying myself that considering my brain, considering my intelligence or logic thinking should be used there, or should my emotions which are there in my heart should be used? What I'm saying is, I'm trying to go beyond the intelligent brain and your heart emotions. Just keep myself 2 seconds aside and look at the situation. 10,000 is being invested here. What is the result you're achieving? This. And to achieve that particular result, these are the people who are involved, who are going to work on it. And what can you do so that that progress or workflow or the business model that you can design or lay out, so that they can have a happy time? Not too much stretching, not too much happy time, balanced way. They should be able to at least perform the work, and then correlate that back to, like a reverse engineer, then correlate that back to my question mark again. What decisions should I have taken? Did I consider too much of my mind logic thinking, irrespective of whether the employees or my workers or my students are gonna have a hard time? Or did I take too much of my heart because I'm an optimistical person and I'm a good person? I want them to work only 4 hours rather than 8 hours, and prolong the productivity and the result oriented people. So am I wrong if I say, whether I use my logic or whether I use my heart, keep my everything aside, look at the 10,000 investment, what is the workflow or business model that needs to be laid out here, who are the stakeholders here, and how are they going to perform the job, and let's do that. And then tell myself, how did I take that decision? Does that am I making sense here, Raj?
Yeah, to some extent, yes.
Maybe some clarity is needed. I'm not that good at expressing myself, but what I'm saying is, I'm not
Okay.
going against your thought flow, or I'm not saying I'm 100% correct. I'm little trying to learn how these things work.
Okay.
I want to learn how these things work. That's the idea. Yeah.
Thanks for your sharing your thought, Lakshmikant. Yeah. It was nice speaking to all of you. The session, I'm ending session on emotional intelligence. I hope you have got some information on this. I hope I have delivered as much as I can. I am affordable of. Please give your feedback on this session and send it to the organizers and all that. And thank you all for attending this session, and good day for you as well, everyone. Thank you, Lakshmikant. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Manpreet. Thank you, YS. Thank you, Kula. Everyone. Thank you.
I should
See you then.
thank you, Raj, for your time and patience to listen to us and give your expertise and thought flows to bring clarity in all these things. Really appreciate it. How can I get in touch with you just in case? Is it
Yeah,
possible?
you just yes. You just to speak to Ramesh, and he'll be giving us details and all that.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, I
Mr.
have
Ramesh
posted
is
my
there,
number
right?
and email for you guys to
Oh yeah.
contact or anybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you again.
Lakshmikant.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
Manpreet.
evening, everyone.
Thank you, Vanvit. Everyone. Thank you. Thank you all. See you then. Bye.